Okay, you guys, there's good news, bad news. Good news, not a lot to teach you today. I'm only going to teach you something about this letter B. Now that's assuming you know the rules for A, C, and D. Now, let's start with reviewing some things we're supposed to be getting better at. If you're still struggling a little bit, it's okay. This is where we kind of pull everything together. So if it's been a bit of a struggle, rewind this, watch it a couple times, and make sure you have it clear, okay? Because there's really standard set rules. The other thing I want to say is what I'm about to show you doesn't happen very often, but when it does, you need to be prepared to make the adjustments and recognize what's going on. What is the book talking about? So I'm not just talking Algebra 2 class, I'm talking your SAT, ACT. You never know what they're going to throw at you, so you want to be really prepared. But the book does touch on it briefly, and there'll be a couple things about it on your homework assignment, just so you can kind of meander your way through this. So here we go. Let's review the letter A. Now, what do we know about the letter A? Well, it's in the front, but here's the rule. Number one, if that thing's negative, it's going to go over the x-axis. Now, I didn't write reflect just to save time. Number two, if it's a fraction, then it's going to be compressed vertically. So like 1/3, if that's 1/3 or 1/10, it's going to take the original and compress it. It's not going to go up as fast. So the opposite is true for any number greater than 1. Like any number greater than 1, for example, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.2. If that's a 3.2, then what that's going to do is that's going to stretch it by that factor, whatever that number is. So you can multiply it. We should know that. Let's go on to the letter C. Now this was a little bit confusing because it's kind of an opposite rule, but if it's plus C, then we move left that amount. If it's minus C, then we move right that amount. Okay. Letter D, pretty straightforward. Plus D equals up, whatever D is. Minus D just means go down. The fancy terminology was translated. Translated up, translated down. Okay. Now, before I continue, I got to make this massive point. 2 points. Look at where the letter B is. It's inside the parentheses. Inside. Take a look at these. Where's B? It's inside the absolute value. Where's B? Inside the parentheses. Now this isn't squared. This is just like to the first power. This to the second power. But if I made that a 3, a 4, a 5, these rules don't change. These rules apply to any graph. So keep that in mind. Notice where A is. A is in the front. A is in the front. A is not inside. A is not inside. A is on the outside. It's in the front. Okay, so B is always connected to the X, and it's on the inside. Okay, a lot of students have a problem with that, so I want to make sure that's really clear. So here we go. Here's the key to B. If B is negative, it reflects over the Y axis. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to put a few examples up here and show you what I mean by it. So it's not all of these crazy letters you're going to see it apply. Let me just hit pause a second. Okay, so here we go. Some examples. Dang it, hold on a second. There we go, we're better now. I forgot to put this up here because I'm going to refer to this. Also, I added this here. We'll talk about that in a minute. So this guy right here is called our parent function. This is just y equals x squared. We should be getting really comfortable with that and just know that it looks something like that. Now, I don't want to overwhelm you with this, but with all these letters, students start thinking, well, where's D for this one? Where's C? Well, technically, D is 0, so there's really no change there. It doesn't go up, doesn't go down. There is no C. So we don't have to worry about moving it right in or left. This just whittles down to this. So just, I don't want to confuse you, but there you go, y equals x squared. Let's go to this one. What is this letter? Is that A? Is it B? Is it C? Is it D? Now, one thing I said is B is connected to X. So some of you are like, well, that's B. I understand what you're saying, but remember I emphasized B is inside the parentheses. A is in front. Notice this is in front. So this is the same thing as negative, watch this now, 1 x plus 0 squared plus 0. So this is my letter A. Now this is B, it's there, but it's a 1, which means it's positive, which means we don't need to worry about it reflecting over the y-axis. Now some students want to know, well, what if that's a 2 or 3? That's something we're going to let decimals figure out. I don't want to go into that right now. So what does this mean? It means we take that negative right there, simply reflects this over the x-axis. So that guy just flips over the x-axis, just like that. Flips. All right, let's build a little bit more. Let's go to this one. What is this? Well, that's the letter A. What is that? That's B. What is this? That's C. What is this? That's D. So let's go one step at a time. A, B, C, D. On this one. So we're going to, remember, we're going to always go to our parent function. So we start here. I'm going to start there, because all the adjustments are going to be made to this. What does this do? Flips it over the x. Okay, step 1. Now the reason I'm continually making this dotted is I'm not done yet. So there's step 1. Step 2, there is no reflection over the y-axis because B is not negative. C, if this is minus 2, remember that's going to move it to the right 2. So there I am right there, continually moving it. This goes up 2, so bing, bing, and then I know I'm done. I just went through A, B, C, and D. Now I'm going to do things a little bit different here, just to kind of impress upon you what that reflection over the y-axis looks like. So, again, what is this built off of? Our parent function. So I'm going to start with it right there. Let's go through my rules. What is A? Well, in this case, A is 1. I'm not going to worry about the compression, or excuse me, the stretch or the compression. I want to focus on the reflection over the y. Now I'm going to do things a little different. I'm going to do things backwards. I'm going to go up 2. And there it is. I just moved it up 2. And now I'm going to stick with my rules. What does that do? Well, it moves it right 2. So bing, bing. And now we've moved it to the right 2. And for the grand finale, that negative does what? It reflects it over the y-axis. So this comes over here, 1, 2, and there's the finished product right there. So I hope that makes sense.